So it seems people are going crazy with this whole Steam collaboration Xbox thingamajig that's going around. People actually believe, including Jez Corden of all people, that GeForce Now is the same as playing games natively. A cloud permission is totally different and way easier to block than it is to block a machine running it, considering the way Valve actually does it is pretty much a checkbox. Cloud enabled, yes or no. This is completely different to how things run natively and how things cannot be blocked when it comes to it. I had someone yesterday just completely losing their mind because the thought of a PlayStation game running on a Xbox hardware was sending them to depths of darkness that no one should really go into. I mean, it's pretty sad that people are this hell-bent on their actual platforms when realistically they're third party anyway. But anyway, that's a discussion and a topic for later today. Today we're going to be talking about other news that's actually turned up that's actually quite cool and quite interesting, including a new Xbox dashboard. Well, not the new one that you saw accidentally apparently revealed by Microsoft, but this is something different. This is actually affecting the Home Hub. So let's have the drop and get into it. Okay, so first we're going to start off with Assassin's Creed because there's a lot of talk about this, and I was fortunate enough to be given a review copy by Ubisoft, so I'm actually going through it at the moment, and I'm really enjoying the game. I'm actually really liking it now that I'm actually playing as a ninja and not as a gung-ho GTA wannabe. It's actually going really well. Taking out a whole, village without being seen and planning your every kill just brings me back to my Tenchu days, and I really can't praise the game more. Right, it's going well. The game has a few flaws, I'll give it that, but I'll cover that in my impressions video when I get around to making it. But it seems Assassin's Creed Shadows is doing really well. The franchise's second biggest launch behind Valhalla in buy revenue, and let's not forget Valhalla launched in the golden era of gaming during the COVID era, where gaming just boomed out the Bawooza because no one could go out and everyone was stuck at home, so everyone was buying more. So to only be behind Valhalla is massive. And apparently Valhalla in its day one made 2.5 million, and I think Shadows made 2.2 million in 48 hours. That's crazy, right? I know it's a day extra, but that's still crazy considering all the options of games that are out there, including Monster Hunter, which just recently came out. And it said it's Ubisoft's best ever day one launch on PlayStation. Yet people are still trying to find ways to ridicule this game and find reasons to hate on it. It doesn't make any sense why people are so hell-bent on actually trying to tear down this game. In fact, Ubisoft went as far as respecting the Japanese temples by not allowing you to damage anything, and now the community is actually up against Ubisoft, saying, why don't you allow us to damage the temples? These are the same people, by the way, that were saying Ubisoft is disrespecting Japanese culture. So it turns out they are just a bunch of bigots who just don't want a black guy in a video game. It really is that simple. Anyway, the game has seen over 2 million players in its first 48 hours and released a very positive rating on Steam. Notably, it did so launching in March when other series arrived during the more lucrative Thanksgiving season, which is usually where you spend more money, and did not benefit from the pandemic boost, like I was saying, and cross-gen release. This is a single release. Valhalla released on both previous gen and the next gen. This is just single gen, and it pretty much made the same numbers. So this is actually doing insanely well. But just to prove my point, you've got this idiot over here called Colonel Otaku Gatekeeper, who actually is a fake Japanese person, because you have to be at this point. Ubisoft is promoting Assassin's Creed Shadows here in Japan in Chinese. They cannot be Japanese. You know this because this is Japanese, and they are mistaking Japanese to Chinese. That is one of the biggest disrespectful things you can do in Japan, right? That is so disrespectful. And this dude over here, or whoever the hell they are, trying to kind of bellyway their into the Grums League, of stupidity, is trying to, and apparently they live in Japan and they are getting this wrong. This is how you know people are literally lying about hating this game because it's cool to do. They are just bandwagoning against Ubisoft, and I am so happy to see Assassin's Creed Shadows actually doing so well. I've never really been an Assassin's Creed fan, but this one really appealed to me because I really like Ghost of Tsushima and I was looking for another game of that caliber. Do you know what? Playing as Naomi is really fun. And the game is really good. It has its usual Ubisoft bloat, but if you bypass that, it's actually a solid game. Like I was saying, people are just crazy at this point. Some bad news for Xbox. It seems Gal Guardians, which is a Metroidvania, Servants of the Dark, which is a game I was looking forward to. I've got the first one on Steam, and I was looking to get the second one on Xbox, but it seems like it's been delayed for an untold time. After consultation with Microsoft, they say, due to various circumstances, we will be unable to release the Xbox versions of Gal Guardians, Servants of the Dark at the same time as other platforms. So every other platform, PC, PlayStation, Switch, are all getting it at the same simultaneous release. Xbox is getting it later. This kind of has to stop. At some point, Microsoft has to pull up their big boy pants and just kind of knuckle down and figure out why this is happening and fix it. Because getting games later than everyone else is just not cool. Now, this isn't that big of a game. It is a niche game. You kind of have to be into these Metroidvanias to enjoy these games. But it is a good game. And it's a shame that Xbox gamers will eventually get it. But it's going to take a while before they do. Like I said, Gal Guardians, the first one is available on Steam. I don't know if the first one's available on Xbox, but this one is. So hopefully this will be a game that those of you that are itching for a Metroidvania will really enjoy. So Tom Warren has revealed a new game hub that they're actually showcasing. So I'm just going to play this so you can see what it's like, and it's actually really cool. Because when you go into the actual game, yes, I'm fully aware people are going to have a nervous breakdown that there is now an extra click to play your game. This is going to really hurt some people's egos. This is really going to offend certain people and really make them upset, because we've all seen the ad situation where a 3-second click, well, technically it's half a second, to get into the dashboard, and it doesn't even appear for everyone, has sent the internet into a complete frenzy. I literally just don't care for it. People have come at me with it. I literally don't care. I don't. I really don't. But I think this is actually really cool. It gives you so many cool stats, pretty much like what Steam gives you with your playtime, and it's at a glance when you click on the game and it gives you that information. There are multiple places in which you can actually see this happening. You know, it's not just in that one place. You can see it in your your own library as well, and it provides you that same information. It provides you with, battle pass stuff or microtransaction stuff, at a glance, to enable you to go in and pick up what you want to pick up. It kind of brings you closer to that store experience. But overall, I think this is actually really cool, and I'm, looking forward to it actually hitting our dashboard. I'm really, really liking this. Now, if you actually go into the game from here, from this menu, which is also the quick resume menu, it pretty much just boots into the game. But if you go into it by standard on the actual main dashboard, you get this extra screen, which I know is going to send a bunch of people over the wall. So, Avowed went out, and it's actually a really good game. I'm really enjoying it. I'm playing too many games at once at the moment, and that's really a bad thing for me. However, it's really sad that Xbox still just couldn't care less about Japan. For all the talk that they have about Japan and Korea and China, they really don't know how to put the effort in to capture that audience. And I know there's a whole, return of interest on this, but at some point you have to put the effort in, take a few hits, and actually make it work for them in order to start seeing some return. You can't expect them to just say, yes, we're happy to accept the scraps you give us, please give us more, and then you do something good for us. You kind of have to put the effort in first to make that sale, and it's clear that Microsoft just, at this point, just doesn't care. Obsidian replied to the Korean and Japanese support for Avowed the game. It's still not available, and there is no timeline for when it will be. Basically, this is for Korean and Japanese voiceovers. Avowed becomes a forgotten game in Korea and Japan, and Xbox and Microsoft's reputation suffers again. This is just really sad, because I know this is going to cost a lot of money to actually get done, but for a company like Microsoft, who has, you know, infinite wells of money, this is an investment that could really pay off. It's a game that I'm sure the Japanese and the Koreans were looking forward to. You know, the fans over there, that are few and far between anyway, would have really appreciated this actually being supported. And once again, Xbox comes in and just leaves them hanging dry. And then they wonder why they're not growing in the East. Well, if you don't put the effort in to actually get stuff working, to get stuff delivered to the correct standard, don't expect to grow. If you treat your community like garbage, you're going to get garbage back. You get what you put in. And it's really sad to see that Microsoft, after all these years, still has not learned a lesson. That you need to treat your consumers as gold. You're selling in another country, support the language. You want to enter that language, you want to enter that country and be a powerhouse. This is not the way to do it. This is the complete opposite way of doing it. But I guess they've resigned now to just America. I mean, that's what it looks like. They've given up on Europe. They've given up on the East. It looks like they're just focusing on one region and hoping that by releasing the games on other platforms, it will reach the other regions in good faith. Who knows? But yeah, Steam on Xbox is going to be a thing. The Xbox coming is going to be a PC. It's going to run on System 32 if all that is said is true. If that is the case, Trunks, who was arguing with me yesterday on X, is pretty much going to eat his words, because at the end of the day, there's no way to block it. Jez Corden is factually 100% wrong. Colt Eastwood is 100% factually wrong. You cannot compare GeForce Now to what is going on with a Windows 32 machine. Blocking a cloud service is very easy, but blocking an actual PC is not, because if they could do that, Boosteroid would be blocked. And that is my argument. Boosteroid today is still allowing you to play on cloud with PlayStation games because you're not streaming the game, you're streaming the virtual PC. And that is how they get around it. Whereas GeForce Now streams the actual game, not the PC. With Boosteroid, you're actually streaming the actual PC. And that is the clear difference between the two here. So, when you're on your PC Xbox, which is essentially what it's going to be, it's going to be a PC as a console, you're streaming from the hardware. You're not streaming the game, you're streaming the hardware. They're just not going to block it. But you know what? People are going to cope all they want. People are going to come up with all sorts of ridiculousness as much as they want. But they are factually wrong with this one. GeForce Now is not the same as a native machine. But it's good to see that Xbox is still updating, the UI, so it's clear that they still have some interest in the console, which is good to see. Disappointing with what's happening in Korea and Japan, because the lack of support there is just not great. But Ubisoft delivering with Assassin's Creed Shadows is definitely a win. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that discussion, and I'll see you tonight where we discuss some of these features before we sit down and, if there's time, play some video games. Right, folks, that's it. Remain legend.